Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. For generations, Mars has been a canvas for our wildest dreams and deepest fears. From the moment our ancestors first gazed upon that fiery red orb in the night sky, it has ignited our imaginations. We've pictured it teeming with alien civilizations, a dying world crying out for help, or perhaps a future home for humanity. But what if the story we've been told about Mars, the narrative etched into our collective consciousness, isn't the whole truth? What if, in our eagerness to understand, or perhaps in an effort to simplify the incomprehensibly complex, we've been given a version of Mars that falls far short of its staggering reality? Today, we're going to peel back the layers of dust and dogma to confront the possibility that when it comes to the red planet, they might just have lied. Our journey begins not with a rocket, but with a telescope, specifically with the observations of an Italian astronomer named Giovanni Schiaparelli in 1877. Gazing through his instrument, he reported seeing what he called canali on the Martian surface, Italian for channels. An innocent translation error, perhaps, or a projection of human expectation onto the unknown. When the word was translated into English as canals, a vastly different image took hold. Canals imply engineering, purpose, and intelligence. They imply someone built them. This linguistic slip laid the groundwork for one of the most enduring lies about Mars, one that captivated the public and even prominent scientists for decades. Percival Lowell, a wealthy American astronomer, became the most vocal proponent of the Martian canal theory. From his observatory in Arizona, he meticulously mapped what he believed were intricate networks of irrigation canals, built by a dying Martian civilization struggling to transport water from the polar ice caps to their arid equatorial cities. His detailed drawings, his impassioned books, and his scientific standing lent immense credibility to this vision. Mars, in Lowell's time, wasn't just a planet. It was a saga of advanced beings fighting for survival, a poignant mirror to our own terrestrial concerns about resource scarcity and the future of civilization. This was the first great lie, a story born from observational limitations, misinterpretations, and a powerful human desire to find life beyond Earth. It wasn't a malicious lie, but a lie nonetheless, deeply embedded in the cultural fabric of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. H.G. Wells's terrifying War of the Worlds, published in 1898, directly capitalized on this popular belief, painting Martians not as dying romantics, but as ruthless invaders. The image of a living, breathing, and potentially hostile Mars was firmly established. Then came the space age, and with it, the truth began to unravel. In 1965, NASA's Mariner 4 spacecraft made history, providing the first close-up images of Mars. The world held its breath. Would we see Lowell's canals, evidence of ancient cities? What Mariner 4 revealed was a stark, cratered, moon-like landscape, utterly devoid of any signs of advanced life or intricate canal systems. It was a desolate, windswept desert, scarred by impacts, lifeless and cold. The lie of a dying civilization, a world of intelligent beings, was shattered. Subsequent Mariner missions, particularly Mariner 9 in 1971, which orbited Mars and mapped its entire surface, reinforced this new, bleak reality. Mars was revealed to be a planet of vast canyons, immense volcanoes, and global dust storms, but fundamentally it was red, dead, and dusty. This was the new truth, a scientific consensus that seemed to put an end to the romantic notions of Martians once and for all. The 1970s saw the Viking program, two ambitious missions designed to land on Mars and directly search for signs of life. Equipped with sophisticated biological experiments, the Viking landers scooped up Martian soil and subjected it to a battery of tests. The results were ambiguous, tantalizing, and ultimately largely inconclusive. While one experiment, the labeled release experiment, showed a positive result that could be interpreted as metabolic activity, other experiments failed to detect organic molecules, the building blocks of life, in the soil. The prevailing scientific interpretation became that the positive result was likely due to unusual chemical reactions in the highly reactive Martian soil, rather than biology. The official narrative solidified. Mars, at least on its surface, was sterile. The dream of finding life there, especially complex life, was put on ice. For decades, this red, dead, and dusty narrative dominated. Mars was a geologically quiet world. Its water locked away in polar ice caps or deep subsurface permafrost, its atmosphere thin and constantly bombarded by solar radiation. It was a fascinating world for geologists, but a graveyard for biologists. This, then, became the subtle lie, not an outright falsehood, but a powerful simplification, a narrative that perhaps prematurely closed the door on the deeper, more complex secrets Mars might hold. A lie of omission, perhaps, or a lie born of limited data and an understandable scientific caution. But Mars, it turns out, is a planet of surprises. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, new missions began to chip away at this hardened perception. The Mars Global Surveyor, Mars Odyssey, and the Mars Exploration Rovers, Spirit and Opportunity, started painting a very different picture. Suddenly, evidence of past liquid water began to pour in. Geological features like ancient riverbeds, deltas, and floodplains screamed of a time when Mars was a warmer, wetter place, potentially hospitable to life. Opportunity famously discovered blueberries hematite spherules that on Earth typically form in the presence of water. This wasn't just about ancient water, it was about the potential for ancient life. The lie that Mars was always a desolate world began to crack. Then came the compelling, if sometimes controversial, evidence of present-day water. The recurring slope lineae, or RSL, dark streaks that appear on Martian slopes in warmer seasons and fade in colder ones, strongly suggested the flow of briny liquid water. While the exact mechanism and composition are still debated, the possibility of liquid water, even highly saline, ephemeral flows, radically changes the equation for potential habitability. If there's liquid water, even a little, even intermittently, then the possibility of life, even microbial life clinging to existence, cannot be entirely dismissed. The red, dead, and dusty narrative started to look less like an absolute truth and more like a provisional statement, heavily qualified. Beyond water, another profound mystery began to emerge: methane. In 2004, the European Space Agency's Mars Express orbiter detected plumes of methane in the Martian atmosphere. Subsequent observations, including by NASA's Curiosity rover, have confirmed localized, episodic bursts of methane. This is a huge deal because methane on Earth is predominantly produced by biological processes, often by microorganisms. It can also be produced geologically, through processes like serpentinization. But here's the kicker: methane is quickly destroyed by solar radiation. Its continued presence, even in fleeting plumes, suggests an active source. Is it geological, or is it biological? Detection of methane directly challenges the sterile surface narrative from Viking. It presents an active, ongoing mystery that the red, dead, and dusty model struggles to fully explain. The lie that Mars is utterly lifeless faces its most direct challenge yet. Of course, the public imagination, having been primed by Lowell's Canals and Wells's Martians, has never fully accepted the red, dead, and dusty narrative. This is where the more conspiratorial lies take root. For decades, images from Mars missions have been scrutinized by amateur researchers and armchair detectives, searching for anomalies. The famous face on Mars, a mesa formation photographed by Viking 1 in 1976 that strikingly resembled a human face in early, low-resolution images, became a symbol of this quest. While later, higher-resolution images clearly showed it to be a natural geological feature. The initial ambiguity fueled an entire subculture, convinced that NASA was hiding evidence of ancient civilizations. It didn't stop there. People have claimed to spot pyramids, domes, artificial structures, even what they believe are fossilized creatures in rover images. While mainstream science dismisses these as pareidolia, the psychological phenomenon of seeing patterns in random stimuli, the persistence of these claims speaks to a deep-seated human desire for connection, a yearning to find that we are not alone. It also highlights a public mistrust, a feeling that perhaps the official story is too neat, too convenient, and that there are secrets being withheld. The lie here, in the eyes of these proponents, is the deliberate obfuscation of evidence that challenges the established paradigm. The latest missions, like NASA's Perseverance rover, are not just looking for signs of past habitability. They are actively searching for biosignatures, direct evidence of ancient microbial life preserved in the Martian rock record. Perseverance is collecting samples that will eventually be returned to Earth, allowing scientists to study them with instruments far more powerful than anything we can send to Mars. This mission implicitly acknowledges that the sterile narrative of the past might be incomplete, that there is still a very real chance of finding life, or its remnants, on Mars. The lie of a barren Mars is being systematically dismantled, piece by painstaking piece, by the very institutions that once propagated the simpler narrative. And what about the ultimate lie? That Mars is forever beyond our reach as a habitable world. Dream of terraforming Mars, of transforming it into a lush blue planet with a breathable atmosphere, once seemed like pure science fiction. While the challenges are immense, the increasing understanding of Mars's past climate, its subsurface water ice, and its potential geological activity fuels the idea that it might not be entirely impossible. Perhaps the lie is not that we can't live on Mars, but that we haven't yet found the courage or the ingenuity to truly make it our own. The truth about Mars, like the truth about the universe itself, is not a static, singular fact, but an evolving understanding. Lies we've told ourselves, whether born of observational error, scientific caution, or wishful thinking, have ultimately served a purpose. They pushed us to look closer, to question more deeply, and to send generation after generation of probes and rovers to unravel the planet's secrets. From Schiaparelli's canals to the ambiguous methane plumes, Mars continues to hold its cards close, teasing us with glimpses of a reality far more complex and tantalizing than any simplified narrative could convey. The biggest lie might be believing we have ever truly known the red planet. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe my YouTube channel for more interesting videos.